Hi, I'm Melissa from SoGoSurvey. You probably already know this, but there are a lot of bad surveys out there. Luckily, yours doesn't have to be one of them. Check out part 3 of our series, Why Most Surveys Suck, but yours don't have to. Take a look. In the first 2 parts of this series, our friend Lauren discussed trust deficit. Whether you've heard of this or not, this can be one of the major factors behind surveys not being successful, either low response rates, poor quality data, or both. There are a lot of reasons that we've identified already that can lead to this trust deficit. Too many surveys, people don't care about it, or you think they don't care about, or they think you don't care about their opinions as well. There are a lot of issues that we've already identified here, but the point is you need to do something about it. There can be actions taken that you can improve the situation with your participants and improve the data that you're collecting. So remember, trust is not like, I can't tell you in the next 2 minutes I'm going to save the day. The idea that trust is something that can be lost quickly, it takes a really long time to build up a good relationship, with people, with participants, your customers, your employees, whoever they are. That communication, transparency over a long period of time are the really key factors in building that, either eroding the trust deficit that you've built or boosting the trust that you already have. So a couple tips. Again, no quick fixes here, but things that you can do systematically to improve your processes. One is pre-survey communication. So when you throw something out there, it shows up in an email in somebody's inbox, it's a lot of pressure on that one little invitation or that one little link. So make sure that you're letting people know in advance that the survey's coming, of course, and what is the purpose of it? Why are you doing it? Are you just, interested, or are you going to use this data? Is it actually going to matter what they say? Because otherwise you're feeding right into that cynicism. And also talk about the process. How are you going to use it? Are you going to share out results? Letting people know that this is coming and why you're asking them to do something shows respect. Otherwise we get into the situation of, you should do this. Why? Because I said so. That's a terrible answer. As children, people don't like to hear that. As students, participants don't like to hear that either. Because I said so. It's not a good reason. So of course we also want them to know that it's coming, so that awareness is heightened, so that when it hits their inbox, they're seeing it right away and they think, aha, this is important, I remember this, I'm going to take care of it. Especially if they think that their opinion is going to be listened to, they're more likely to respond. Of course, if there's anything big, tip 2, don't avoid elephants in the room. We know as a bit of an idiom, but it tells us that if there's something really sensitive or controversial, don't avoid it, address it. If there's something that needs to be said, you can't just pretend that problem doesn't exist. If there's, labor disputes or, issues in the community, things like that, be very sensitive about it. Maybe even bring in, participants or people who are involved in that issue or that situation to help vet your survey before it even goes out. You want to make sure that you've got the right people on board so that their communities and their constituents that they represent also feel, respected and listened to by the time that survey comes out, and not attacked or not ignored either. These are really important topics too, and honesty matters, so you can't pretend something doesn't exist. Next one here, check for bias. Bias is a big one, and you don't notice bias because you're the one who's been working on the survey all this time, but it really makes a difference when you design a better questionnaire that's been reviewed, educates, informs people without biasing their answers. You need to have a review by somebody who's not you. Even though maybe you've taken on a lot with this project and you want to just get it all done yourself, please make sure you spend some time, build time into your project plan so that other people, at least 1 or 2 other people who are not you, maybe even outside of your office, for example, can catch anything that seems, maybe it's obvious to you or maybe it's biased, it turns out, but your audience might not understand it in the same way that you have after all this time taking a look at it. Be careful with tone, meaning, purpose, again, both in your survey and in your invitation, because we know that that invitation, especially if you're using an email invitation, there's a lot of pressure on that. We want to make sure that people get the right idea, or else they're not going to make it to your survey in the first place. And for post-survey communication, of course, it's the bookend for pre-survey communication, but you can start this as soon as somebody submits on the thank you page or the results page. Let people know, of course, you're grateful, but also what's going to happen next. Do the same thing once the report is ready. You're going to be communicating those ideas of what you've learned and what you're going to do about it. And the most important thing, of course, is follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you promise to present the results at the next annual meeting, you have to do it. Otherwise, you need to give some sort of explanation if that didn't work out, whatever it is. Otherwise, you're eroding that trust because you're saying that you're going to do something and you don't, and so why should they trust you the next time? It'll definitely hurt future response rates and surveys as well. This is a really good opportunity to have a powerful conversation with your community, whether it's employees, customers, anybody else, even if it's a research study. That idea of transparency, communication works both ways. We want to make sure that people are able to share with us, and we're also able to share with them. So we learn something meaningful, and they feel that they've had a good role in this process as well. We want people to, of course, you want successful surveys, but we also want to build that bond with our participants so they're more willing and interested in being involved in future conversations. So better response rates, actionable data, it's what everybody wants, that's the dream. And if you need help in wondering, how do I get started with all of that, let's connect. Let's see a demo, have somebody on our team connect with you on some ideas to get you started and destroying the trust deficit. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again soon. In the meantime, you can connect with us on social media @SoGoSurvey or visit our website, SoGoSurvey.com. See you next time.